Welcome, intrepid viewers. Welcome, new viewers. You are so welcome to this channel. So as long as you don't mind a criticism of the Yeti-in-Chief, we'll get on fine. So just letting you know. So I thought we needed to regroup before the Mueller revelations, or non-revelations as they might turn out to be, with the redactions. But let's just remember, redactions are basically about ongoing investigations. So even though Barr and others will be doing their best, embrace the redaction. I think we need to turn this all around. I mean, I think it's good to argue for transparency down the track, but redactions mean active cases. And this is important because with Trump, it's been shocking, both I'm sure to Americans, but also the world, how he can transgress all the norms. He can be rude and mean-spirited and provocative and disgusting and do random illegal acts, and the big things don't stick. So what we do know is with Trump, it will be death by 1,000 legal cuts. So the redactions are part of that process. So America in transition. I would also recommend, Dave Johnson did an excellent video recently on how to visualize the America that you want, how to actually emerge and be proactive in that change. So I'd recommend you tracking it down. I think it's still his most recent. Okay, so now I thought today I'll just have a look quickly at what the reaction would be for the Democrats and what for the GOP. All right, let's have a look. We'll do the Dems first. Expect the worst, hope for the best. Oh, I'm nervous. The Dems' reaction to this. I mean, after Barr's unparalleled interference, unspeakable, and to release it, Easter, Passover, cheap shot. So, what will be the reaction for the Dems? Here we go. Sorry, I've got something on screen I need to get rid of. There. Okay, King of Pentacles going out there. Oh, that's interesting. All right. We'll have a little look here. Kicking off, the King of Pentacles, i.e. Trump. So have a good look if you're not familiar with the Rider-Waite. This is the king, and he does think of himself as a king. He missed that civics class where there was actually a revolution to avoid kings. He thinks it's a good idea. So this is greedy Trump. The towers, the real estate, the jewels, the money, the never enough king. He then seems to throw them back into nostalgia mode. I'm not sure about how I'm going to interpret this card. It could be that he makes the Dems wish for the days, obviously, of Obama, but also anyone sane and competent. So there's almost a nostalgic feel here for the Dems. Where it picks up, there's a Knight of Cups, and Knights are opportunities. Cups are emotion and creativity and imagination. This is what I was just saying about the Dave Johnson Moonride reading. It's important, digression one, viewers, when you're under assault, which is what's happening on a daily basis, it's easy to get paralyzed, it's easy to freeze, it's easy to get angry, it is so aggravating. So you're overwhelmed with negative emotions of worry and real concern and so forth. So to be aware of trying to flip that energy. Yes, this act makes me feel like this, so How can I counter that energy and make it more positive? And the Knight of Cups, I think this might be a person who emerges from the Dems. It could be Mayor Pete, someone like that, who actually calls it out for what it is and is calling for a new vision. Remember, it's the dark before the light here. So this is a little glimmer of the light. The Fool. So, as I've taken pains to express recently, the Fool is not as simple as not looking where you're going and just stepping into the abyss. No, it's the beginning of a journey, the Fool's journey. So here, it has an energy of newness and faith. There's an element of faith, not just conventional religious faith, but faith in the universe, stepping off here. The Dems themselves have to beware of illusions and delusions, whether that's about how much power they have or might have, or what they can achieve or not achieve or something, or having to clear out their own stable. That as so many are putting their hats into the ring for the presidential race, they have to be very, very clean, because this will be found out. Okay. But I'm most heartened by the Knight of Cups and the Fool in that context. Okay, so let's have a look at what's going to happen now for the GOP. All right, so meanwhile, huge numbers of the GOP continue to support the Yeti. Obviously, they want their 19th century judges in. We know that's an overt agenda. We know they want us all to live in 1896 and women back in the kitchen where they belong, preferably having the 9th baby. So we know they think backwards. They do not respect science, so there is no issue with climate change. They are destroying their own grandchildren's potential futures. They do not know, they do not care. Okay, so that's at the lower end of the GOP. I'm being generous here and saying there is a spectrum within the GOP of people who do actually respect law and order in the conventional constitutional sense, although many of those have already left. So, this is how will the report be received. Don't forget, apart from the judges, the other reason so many Republicans support him is the economy keeps ticking along. Now, two things about that. One is they won't change their attitude until the economy starts to dive, and any economy goes through cycles. So if you're not a child and you're not Trump, you know that. So cycles ebb and flow. They'll pull back quite a bit if the economy continues to have these ripples, but so far it's held steady. That opens the other discussion, viewers. And we've been talking about this online, and I find it fascinating. The idea that a good economy means everyone should be happy and grateful has got to be challenged. If this is a good economy and you're being paid $7 an hour, that is not good news. And so we get conditioned into thinking what's good for the economy is good for everyone, trickle-down economics. We were told in Australia, and you've been told in the US, cut taxes for the rich, they'll employ more people. Sounds good, but they don't. They use that money for further profits and further investment in technologies like robots doing unskilled work. So it's the opposite of helping the worker. But you're lucky, America. You've got bright, young talent who tells it like it is at the moment. Australia, I'm not seeing that. So it's all of them. They're all slightly different, but Ocasio-Cortez, Beto O'Rourke might be conservative in some ways, radical in others. You've got Buttigieg, you've got the stalwarts like Elizabeth Warren, you've got Bernie, who are telling it like it is. So it's up to Americans to actually reevaluate this long dependence on the idea that corporate wealth represents success, represents a healthy country, because it doesn't. So that's the challenge for the Dems, but also middle GOP. And I know a lot of you have relations who are either dyed-in-the-wool GOPers or Trumpists, and you have my heartfelt sympathy. Be strong. Rise above it. Okay, we're now looking at the GOP. Oh, interesting. Okay, they get cards that are challenging in their own way. They get the dynastic money card. I'm not surprised, because this is how people think. The Paul Ryans of this world who read Ayn Rand and think poor people are just a drag on the economy and really we should just get rid of them. The people who are born to intergenerational wealth, unless you're taught within that family that you are privileged and that you can support the arts or support an educational institution or support a literacy program, in other words, give back. There are some very wealthy people who give back, and there are a lot who don't. They just assume this privilege because they've always grown up surrounded by people with a lot of money. They also have to look at the donors, where the money's coming from. They have to choose between justice and righteousness or going with the cheap shot, continuing to support Trump. Which will they choose? Probably, like this is the Knight of Wands. They, as the report comes out, and there will inevitably be lots of grey areas of bad, nefarious, and even criminal behaviour by Trump and consorts, they have to choose. This is saying to me, this is the cautious knight. A few will wake up. A few. I'm not seeing the majority here. Most will instinctively just go back to their fallback position of supporting him and ignoring the report, whether or not they believe it's, fake CNN-driven news or whatever. But there's a few in here that will begin to see the light. Why I think that is they also get the World card, and that's a combination of things. It's the end of a cycle. So the Mueller report release as such on American Thursday will play out in a particular way that represents the end of a cycle, because we've all been on tenterhooks for 2 years. But there's the other side of the world, which is diversity and tolerance and a new cycle. So this is their choice. You've got those Republicans who are very socially conservative, but they actually understand immigration, that any country needs new young immigrants to pay the age pensions of the ones who are retiring, because we're not having 14 kids anymore. All big economies need migrants and need migrant labour, and that's what keeps a country prosperous. So they knew that, and they turned their back on it with this president. So they have to make this decision. They're ambivalent. They're not sure. I think fewer will come round. The majority will just stay because that's people's default position. But this is not the end of the story for the Republicans. All right, guys. Well, before I go any further, I'm doing personal readings again starting next week. If you want a reading, please email me. The email, my Gmail, is on every video. Okay, so it's Lena.Rodriguez.tarot@gmail.com. And I'll get back to you and arrange a time. I'm so excited. I meet you guys. It's a thrill. All right, that's it for now. Not a blinding revelation there. Not, woo, lifting the roof. But just I wanted to communicate directly, as we do through the forum. You know, the comments, I get back to them. It's really, really important. Support each other. You guys are great. Thank you so much. See you soon.